Today's ship updates is going to be a unique episode because today I'm specifically making this episode for you. No, not the other guy, you. Yeah, you, the one watching the video right now. This video is custom made just for you. What ship should you buy? What ship should you own? If you've already bought enough ships and you're thinking, the Invictus sale's coming up, maybe it's time to consolidate. I'm going to tell you what the right ship for you is. You specifically, out of all the ships, I'm going to tell you which ship is the right ship. Well, actually, I'm not specifically going to tell you, but I'm going to show you how to figure it out. First of all, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be really, and this is often a very difficult thing. A lot of people don't know this, and sometimes breaking through some of the preconceived notions in people's heads can be quite difficult. Just had a very lively debate on a completely different subject and had to do with something like that. You have to be able to look at not what you want to do in Star Citizen, but realistically, what are you going to be doing? Now, many of us, whenever we log into a game, we have high hopes. Whenever we think of a new game that's coming up, we have these preconceived notions of this is what I'm going to do in that game. Like, as a quick, for instance, someone was asking me about New World, and in a different Discord, and they were saying, are you going to play New World? And I said, oh yeah, probably. I already own it. And they said, oh, do you know what you're going to do? And I said, oh yeah, here it is. I've already kind of built it out in my head. This is the way that I'm going to go with this game. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, take my two weapons. I'm going to have a rapier, and I'm going to have a musket on my back so I can, stab people up close and shoot them from long range. Apparently they both work off of dexterity, so I can build my gear around one stat, possibly. So generally, that's where I'm going to go. That's my preconceived notion. That's my idealization of what I am going to be doing. But the reality is that you don't really know how that ball is going to bounce. You don't know quite where things are going to end up. I mean, we're just using the New World as an example. Like, a lot of people may remember the fact that game was primed for release almost a year ago. Then all of a sudden, yoink, pulling it back. No. We got a lot of work to do. Some players got their hands on it, they tested it, and they said, oh, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. And so a whole bunch of things got kind of yanked and changed in a lot of fundamental ways. And the same could be true for Star Citizen. I think that what we've seen so far of how things are developing, how things look like they're going, we can start to form notions of what we would consider to be our ideal chill zone ship, the ship that we can fly by ourselves, maybe stick a couple NPCs in a turret. For the most part, that ship is still going to work. We can go out, we can do things on our own time, at our own schedule. We don't have to worry about, waiting an extra hour for so-and-so to log in, or I can't do this because he didn't show up or she didn't show up or whatever. It's important to have a ship like that. But the truth of it is that the waters in Star Citizen, they are shifting all the time. It is, you're just you're kind of stuck on this current, and where we're going to end up, we don't really know. And something like an anniversary sale is a solid opportunity, so long as the ships and what we can do with the ships remains fairly fluid, in that we can kind of say, hey, you know what, this ship isn't working out for me. You refund the ship, you get the money, and then you go and you put it into a different ship. Many of us have shuffled ships over the years and kind of tried this out, that out, and the other thing out. And yeah, I'm this is video. This is the unedited footage from me trying out a ship that I am not a big fan of, mainly in comparison to its competition. But we're not making another video about that ship. Things like the anniversary sale and things like the Invictus sale. I mean, they're both anniversary sales, really, but just one has a different label on it. But at these points when so many of the ships become available, in fact, just about all of them, except for the dire limitations on certain capitals, when these things come out, whenever you go on the PTU or something like that, it's always a good time to just look at your list, because you generally have access to everything, and to go out and fly different things, to fly different ships. And maybe you've kind of bounced around between different ships and you've tried a few things out that you've liked, or something recently was changed about a ship that maybe you didn't like at first that you want to try out again. Something like the anniversary sale, it gives you the opportunity to then maybe take that PTU experience and turn it into real in-game practical experience for a while. Maybe you just want to try out this ship for about 6 months and see what it's like to manage and fly this ship on your own. It's very important to have a solid ship in your lineup where you're not really dependent on other people showing up, because that's unfortunately one of the sad realities of online gaming. Is as much as we say MMORPG, massively multiplayer, the truth of it is that oftentimes in many massively multiplayer games, we end up in situations through no fault of our own where we're forced to play them as single player games. And many game titles have been adapted over the years to be more welcoming or more rewarding towards, the single player kind of lifestyle in the MMO. And I mean, do I like it? Do I not like it? Do I think that it's right? Do I think that it's wrong? That's a discussion for another time. But as a player, you do have to kind of accept the fact that, if you go out there and you say every ship that I own is a multi-crew ship and I'm always going to be chasing after people to crew my ship. The problem is that everyone who buys into Star Citizen gets a ship. Everyone, like the big thing that a lot of people are, looking forward to when they get into the game is, I'm going to start working. I bought this ship so I can work towards that ship. I'm not going to pay real money for that, but I am going to earn that ship. A lot of people set goals like that. And the people who just bought the ship that they want, well, chances are they want to fly the ship that they bought, right? And it's kind of one of the uncomfortable conversations of Star Citizen. It's just that when people buy multiplayer ships and they figure, oh, well, this is when we're talking about ships that are up at the high end, things like the Reclaimer, the Idris, things like that, you have to be realistic, and you have to realize that facility may not always be open to you, or if it is open to you, it may not work as well as you hope that it will. As you go into something like an anniversary sale or an Invictus sale, take a moment. If you haven't already, take a moment to think about, what is the ship that I'm probably going to put the most space miles on when I'm traveling from star system to star system, when I have to bring, tools, weapons, spacesuits, armor, all these things with me, food, water, showers, a bed, all these things. I need to bring all these things with me. Realize that, sadly, like a lot of MMOs, there's probably going to be a lot of solo pilot time in those universes. We got just a little bit of a snippet, a little bit of a preview of what CIG wants to do with the reputation system. Some of it might be exclusive modules, free repairs, discounts on ships, guns, but when you start to think about, oh, what about this? What about that ship? What about, this reputation, that reputation? Your goal may not be congruent with the person sitting next to you. And you might be after different things, which means you're going to go in different directions. And that's generally what we tend to do in MMOs when we have multiple, things to pursue. Is some people go for this thing, some people go for that thing, and you have to realistically look and say, what is going to facilitate this for me? What is going to best empower me to go and do all the things that I want to do? And yeah, you can have your dream ship sitting in your hangar and you can say, yeah, that's my dream ship for, certain special occasions. I feel that way about the Reclaimer. But the truth of it is when I look at something like the Reclaimer, I realize that is probably like if ships had an odometer on them, which, for those of you who, English is maybe not your first language, it's a little thing on the car, usually on the tachometer or, RPMs, and it tells you how many kilometers or miles you put on a car. I realized that like if the Reclaimer had that, it would probably be one of my lowest mileage vehicles. I still love the ship. I'm still going to take the ship out from time to time, but that's more of a special occasion thing. When I'm going out and I'm looking at ships, and the ships that I'm really looking at are the ships that I think are going to best facilitate that single player experience, which is not how we look at MMOs ideally, but generally as a rule it tends to be where we spend most of our time playing an MMO, ironically enough, is as a single player game. So that would be the episode for today. That would be the ship that I recommend. That would be the ship that I think that you should pursue, that you should really put the most thought into. Beyond that, of course, next week, we will have the launch of the Invictus Sail. I believe it's next week it starts on Friday. And I assume with that, we are going to get a new flight-ready ship. What it's going to be, I have no idea. Could be like a Valkyrie with a crane on it instead of a passenger cabin that allows you to haul around a Nova tank. Maybe. Or, who knows. But generally, that's what I'd like to look at these anniversary sales as an opportunity to freely shuffle money around, the money generally that we've already spent, and to maybe look for some of those hidden gems in Star Citizen, some of those ships that may not be like the most flashy or the fastest, or this thing is the Polaris, or hey, it's the Kraken, things like that. But look for the ship that you honestly think that you're going to be putting the most miles on when you're playing the game. That would be where that's where I would put most of my consideration when I'm thinking about the ships that I want to fly in Star Citizen, or the ships that I would want to use as kind of like the cornerstone for facilitating everything else that I want to do in the universe. But we'll find out next week if there's any surprises coming our way. Anyways, that's the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.